So recently there was this guy named Arch who made a post about Nick A30, one of the biggest Fortnite streamers out there, who he claims scammed him on stream because he did not want to give an answer about a donation that Arch made. Arch made a donation, a $2 donation, to give to Nick because he wanted to ask him what ideas do you have for challenges I can do so I can grow my channel because I post on YouTube. Well, Nick did not want to answer that question simply. He said, I don't really know. I don't really have anything at the moment, but if you want me to say something, I'd be glad to do that. It seems kind of like a bad answer, honestly. Dissatisfactory. That's just Nick's answer, you know? And if that's his answer, then it might be time to move on. You can go find another streamer. You can go find if there's somebody else who's willing to give you an answer. There's tons of streamers, and I'm not going to name any of them because I don't remember. But what I do know is that you're not just stuck with one person. Although Nick is a very good person to go to, if he's not going to give you an answer, then that's just it, buddy. You shouldn't push for it, and especially not with donations, because you're forking out a lot of money for an answer that you're not going to get. So 3 donations in, because Arch wants to really push for this really simple question that he could ask anybody else, and he wants to ask Nick A30. He wants to ask why, or can you please give me something to work with? Just one challenge. And Nick is like, no, he's being honestly reasonable. And yeah, and if you see that as rude, that's fine, I guess. You can have your opinions about that. There's nothing wrong with it. And to be honest, Nick did kind of have a little bit of a tone. Maybe he just wasn't feeling it at that moment. But 3 donations in, doesn't take a regular human that long to figure out, oh, maybe Nick doesn't want to answer this question, or maybe he's just having a bad day. Maybe I should leave him be and go find another streamer to ask the question. In the meantime, he can enjoy whatever money I gave him as a donation, because it's a donation. After that, Nick tells Arch to stop spamming him. That's very important. That's very important because now we know that Nick is opposing, because Arch is forking over money, and it's not a lot. It's not even a lot of money. He says Arch says by the time that his post goes up about Nick, he says he lost about $15. That's really nothing, honestly, especially for a 19-year-old who probably has a job. And that's not to say that, oh, you could just farm that money. You'd probably do better with that. That's to say you could have spent that on something else. I mean, yeah, 2 of those dollars went to the initial question, but that's really all you should have needed. I don't really think it takes a genius to understand that maybe if Nick doesn't want to answer your question, you could go to another streamer, donate to them, and then ask the same question and get a good answer. If Nick A30 doesn't want to provide you an answer, then that's just it, buddy. He's not obligated to. He's not legally contracted by any means to do so. And you're phrasing it as if he scammed you. That's not something to be taken lightly. You're accusing him of committing fraud, basically. That's not exactly what Nick did, and here's why. Nick said, stop spamming me. That's the most important thing. He said, if you're gonna keep donating and not have a good reason to, then I'm not going to accept it. Nick blocked him so he wouldn't be able to donate anymore, which is a fair move. And it's the exact reason why Nick is proven not to be a scammer in this case. $15 is a measly amount to scam from. And for a guy with 8.8 million subs on YouTube and a thriving Twitch audience, there's no reason to sacrifice your career for $15. That sounds so dumb. And him blocking Arch from being able to donate proves that. It proves that he's not supposed to, or that he's not trying to scam Arch in any way. He doesn't want his money if he's just going to keep asking the same questions, being annoying. Arch just doesn't know how to take no for an answer, which is dumb, honestly. Nick A30 is a family-friendly streamer, but at the same time, he's not. If he has a bad day, that's fine. We all have bad days sometimes. We're actually going to take a look at some of the people that did commentate on this tragedy of a story here. And we're going to take a look at Sensitive Society's perspective on the whole thing and see what he thinks about it.
Well, in my opinion, the guy Arch isn't being annoying, nor is he being spammy. He just wants a response because Nick said, well, yeah, send me a request or tell me what to do. Really weird behavior. I don't know if Nick was just having a bad day. I don't know what's up with the guy. Just say a random quirky challenge, shotgun only, or don't heal in Fortnite the whole match. Dude, I know no one's entitled to you just because someone sent a donation. I don't know, Nick. Not very epic. And not a certified family-friendly moment for you. Like, the guy's just looking for a challenge. You agree to giving him one. He continues to ask you, and then you get a bit rude and tell him to stop spamming. It's like, what?
Okay, that's one of the things that I don't really agree with. I think Well, he does say that Nick A30 should have just come up with an answer on the spot, and it would have been easy to do so anyways. But the reason why Nick doesn't is probably because he's either having a bad day, or he just doesn't want to answer it. That's what I get from what Sens is saying here. But even if he doesn't want to answer it, there's no reason to spam him on it, and that's just plainly what I think Arch did. I don't think there's, and I'm not trying to glaze Nick A30 too much here and say that, or trying to be too much of a contrarian to the popular opinion, but I believe that Nick has a right to be able to say whatever he wants. And if he doesn't want to say what someone is requesting for a donation, that's within his right. I don't believe anybody's wrong, or I don't believe he's wrong exactly for not wanting to do that. And Sens here is saying that it is wrong of him because he just didn't want to do it, which is dumb. I don't think that's okay. He also said it's not very family friendly of him. And really, Nick didn't really do anything not family friendly. And I'm not saying that Nick has always been exactly family friendly. He's always has moments, we're all human. But I believe at the end of the day, Nick did his best to try and minimize the attention that Arch was getting just off of the donations that he was making alone. If he really didn't want to answer Arch's donation questions or whatever, he has within his full right to not only block Arch, but to say to him whatever he wants to say. I believe that's totally within his right. Arch is the one watching a stream and donating to Nick. But if Nick doesn't want the donations and Nick doesn't want to answer the question, that's within Nick's right. I don't believe that's a hard take.
Yeah, this from the content creator side of things. If I was live streaming, let's say in front of 800 people, right? And people are asking me, yo, what kind of video ideas do you have? And I don't have any. I'll just say, well, I don't have any video ideas. Appreciate the donation, and then just move on, right? But the way Nick went about it, kind of let him on in a way. And I do think the title is a little exaggerated. I don't think Nick is a scammer. I don't think that's a full out scam. I think something like CryptoSoup or Honey, I think that's a lot more of a scam. I don't know. I think the video is a little exaggerated, but at the same time, I've done exaggerated videos and titles. So
okay, what Sensitive just said is that he doesn't believe that Nick A30 is a scammer, but he believes that Nick A30 led on this guy or Arch to keep donating, which sounds dumb, honestly, in my opinion. Because if you don't want to deal with somebody who's just throwing money at you for no apparent reason, then you block them, right? You don't deal with them anymore. And that's exactly what Nick did. I don't believe Nick should have to bend his back, sideways for a guy that just keeps spamming him. That's not cool. He does then go on to say that the video that Arch made is exaggerated, which is largely true. Over $15 or over $15, is that really gonna exaggerate the video over and make a whole video dissing on Nick A30 and calling him a scammer for? And even if you think that's a lot of money, which in today's world it's not, it can barely get you and maybe a friend a meal, it's not worth calling somebody a scammer over. That's just not worth it. And especially somebody who didn't want your donation to begin with because you were being annoying and spamming them. And I agree with Sensitive Society on this one. You don't need to make a whole video about it. I don't think it's necessary. But if you want to make a post on Twitter or something, be like, or if you want to DM Nick and say hey, can I please get my money back because I didn't get my answer? I'm pretty sure he could come up with something. Or if he really wanted to, he could just keep it. It's donated. But I'm pretty sure he wouldn't because he didn't want to deal with that anyways, and he doesn't want to deal with anything further. There's no one in the world who wants to deal with your antics because you feel like you deserve an answer for something because you donated to them. $5! How do you not have $5?
But then Nick A30 decided to make things a lot worse by going on stream and talking about this and just flat out lying about the guy. And at that point, I was like, okay, I gotta talk about this. This is just getting ridiculous. This is something that could have been so easily fixed. You could have been like, yo, man, sorry, I was not paying attention. I was playing and interacting with chat, and that is difficult. Yo, let me give you a challenge. I'm sorry. The way Nick follows this up is like, bro, what are you doing here?
Because the way he reacted was so strange, and I was being nothing but polite, so I can't imagine what he would say to a kid asking the same question who wouldn't be able to write in a professional manner like I did. So let's keep watching.
On this video right here, you see that? And that's, I can guarantee you, bro donated like $10. I can guarantee you he made 100 times that amount with it.
I didn't make any money off the video.
Okay, so what Arch says here is that he didn't make any money off the video after he made it and got 100k views on it, with all of his other videos saying that they at least have 1k view or and higher. But I mean, that's kind of a moot point. Who really cares, honestly, how much money he makes off of it? But Nick made a really bad move, coming over to his channel to personally diss on him. It was childish, honestly, to say. If Nick hadn't done it, if Nick hadn't gone out of his way on stream to look up Arch's channel and his post about him, this probably wouldn't have blown up into such a mess. It probably would have just rolled over, honestly. But it was a really bad move of Nick, and it shows that he's not exactly in the right place at the moment. But I mean, at that point, kind of may have to take a break, you know, because maybe right now isn't the greatest time. But I don't really believe Arch has that much of a case here, over 15 bucks. But I think that Arch would have still been in the wrong here, and is still in the wrong here for bothering Nick the amount that he did.
Made zero. I'm not monetized on YouTube, so that's a lie. I didn't do it for the money. I make no money from this. I actually am down $15 from when I made this video because I donated to him, made the video, and I don't get revenue from YouTube. Simple as that.
This video right here. Bro's going on like it's about the money. Bro was just a rude, toxic, hateful individual, bro. Like, he was so passive-aggressive in his comment.
I'm not a rude, toxic, hateful individual like Nick is saying.
You know what? I do believe that that Arch wasn't really toxic or passive-aggressive that much in the donations. I don't know what he said in the comments. I couldn't tell you. But what I do know is that from the way that they both responded initially to each other on that first stream, it seemed fine until Arch just kept pushing it, you know? If Arch had just left him alone, then things wouldn't have gone that far. And which, to be fair, Nick didn't say no, but after giving alternate answers, he said stop spamming, and that should have been it, you know? If you couldn't catch the first few or the first two telltale signs of I'm not going to answer this question, then you need to find somebody else to ask. I don't think it's that hard. Just as people are saying that it's not hard to answer this guy's question, just as people are saying it's not hard to answer what challenge should I do, it's not hard to go find another streamer to ask. So it's kind of a double standard. But I mean, if you want to make the case and say that Nick is in a position of moral obligation because this guy donated to him, because Arch donated to him, well, then Arch shouldn't have donated a third or fourth time if he wasn't going to get an answer on the first two tries. It seems like common sense. If on the first one, I can understand, you know, he wanted to get an answer, and even the second one, yeah, you know, I could probably still get an answer out of him. He didn't exactly say no, but at that point, if he's gonna tell you on the third donation, or I'm not gonna answer, then just go away, do something else, go to another streamer and ask. He didn't scam you. He's like, stop spamming. He may not have seen it one of those times, or he may have said that he answered it but really didn't. Then that's on him. And you know what? If that still happens, then you don't need to bother him. Just go, you know, just go and do your own thing. Another thing is they do say that Sensitive Society says that It is pretty weird the way that Nick is acting. I mean, that's a tough case to say in itself. But I mean, you can't really force an answer out of somebody at the end of the day. If he doesn't want to answer it, he doesn't want to answer it. That is what it is, you know? I don't think that's a hot topic, honestly. I don't think that's a bad thing to say. I don't think it's really worth the mention either. I just believe, like, if Nick didn't want to say anything about it, or if he didn't want to watch, or if he didn't want to answer it, then he just didn't want to answer it.
And then Nick is crashing out like this. Like, look at this guy. This guy's a cloud chaser. Look at his channel. He gets no views. But when he talks about me, he gets views. It's just like, how old is Nick A30? Now I'm curious. Bro's older than me, and he's crashing out over a simple request. This is weird. Like, dude, you have 8 million subscribers, and you're putting this guy on fucking blast? And once again, if he was a hater, I would not care.
Never unblock you. I hope you know that.
You're not really giving your perspective of the situation. You're just kind of hating and getting all aggressive and angry. So I don't know what that is about, Mr. Positivity himself.
Because you are just a rude, spiteful individual. And not only that, you weren't looking for content from me, bro. You were looking at me.
I was looking for content. So I wasn't looking for video ideas. I didn't want Nick. I think a lot of people misunderstood, and he understood what I meant. I wasn't looking for video ideas. I was working on a video where I get challenges off of big Fortnite streamers. So I donate and say, could you give me a challenge? And then it's so easy to come up with a challenge. I think anyone watching this video could think of a Fortnite challenge and say it in 2 seconds.
All right, I'll give you a challenge, Mr. Arch. Get the skibbity.
He did also say that Nick looked like he was punching down, sort of, or at least that's kind of what I get from it. That he was putting this Arch guy on blast for everyone to see, for his 8.8 million followers to see. And I mean, yeah, that is very immature, and he really shouldn't have gone to visit his channel in the first place on stream to kind of dog on him. It was a bad move. I'll be honest, I don't agree with Nick on that. I'd be like, hey, maybe this guy did make this video, but here's why I don't agree with it, and here's, you know, the facts set straight. At the end of the day, it did have 100k views already, so it's not like it was totally ignored. And that guy probably had a huge increase in subscriptions, and probably does now have a partnership with YouTube, if I would imagine. But I mean, that's just my opinion. It's not fact. So take it with a grain of salt, you know. What Arch is saying here is like he sent very positive messages. There wasn't anything toxic about them. And I agree. I believe that Nick is wrong about Arch sending negative messages. As far as I'm concerned, he's referring to the donations themselves. But I believe that our buddy right here, Arch, didn't really do anything wrong in that circumstance. But you know, I think that at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is. If he ignores your donations, you got to go somewhere else. It's as easy as you're saying it is, or as you're saying it is to say a random challenge, to go to a different streamer and donate there. You can't. I refuse to believe that you're a Fortnite streamer that follows only Nick A30. And I mean, if you are, cool, I guess. Who really cares? But at the end of the day, you gotta come up with your own challenges if other people can't help you. And I guarantee you there are other people other than Nick A30 that can help you.
Little scummy person, bro. Such a scumbag. They try to make me look bad because the guy's being rude, asking for donations, and not asking for. He's being rude, asking for a challenge for his video, and I'm like, bro, I owe you nothing, man.
You don't owe me anything, right? But when I donate and I ask you for a challenge, and then you say, yeah, no, tell me what challenge, and I'll say it for your video if that's what you want, and then I donate more, then you do kind of owe me you saying the challenge. You can't just ignore it because you decided you don't want to do it and not say anything.
How is this person more mature than Nick A30? Someone who's 30 years old. But if Nick would have been like, oh no, sorry man, I don't have any challenges for you, but thanks for the super chat or donation or whatever it is, done. Right? You put an end to it. But the way you said it, it's like, yeah, you kind of let him on, and then you were like, well, never mind, I don't have anything. So yeah, that's on you, dude. You're a grown-ass man. Don't be this goofy-ass person. Unk is literally crashing out over something that could have been so easily avoided. Yeah, I don't know. Nick A30, a interesting person.
It'll get old really quick, and people just aren't gonna find it enjoyable. on either part. I feel like it's a losing battle for both ends, and that's like the most egregious thing that I've heard from Sensitive Society. You can't say that you've donated to somebody and now they owe you something. Like Sense said in the beginning of the video, people don't owe you anything just because they donate, and then it comes back around to this point and then says he doesn't directly say that he endorses this, but it's kind of implied because he says that for some reason Arch is more mature than Nick, which is dumb. It's dumb because under no circumstance are streamers obligated to do anything for you. How many booby streamers do you think are gifted subs or whatever and are asked to flash and they don't do it because they want to stay on Twitch? They're not obligated to do so under any circumstance. No matter how many copious amounts of money you spend, they're not obligated to do anything because it's a donation. Donations are exactly that, donations. They're not buying a service from you. They're not doing anything for you. And if Nick doesn't want to answer your question and feels pressured by what you're telling him, or if he feels pressured by the fact that you won't leave him alone, he's fully obligated to block you and ban you. And yeah, he can diss on you. He can diss on you in stream. It's not good. He shouldn't do it, but he totally can. And yeah, I believe that Nick shouldn't have gone on stream to go and publicly, I guess, just dog on this guy because he made a bunch of donations. I do believe that he was initially right to say, no, I don't want to answer your question, but I have another question that you could answer. Just give me the name of the challenge and I'll say it, you know, and it'll be for your video. It'll be fine. You can put it in your video. I don't care. And it's just like, I don't understand why Arch couldn't take that for an answer. Why does it have to be? And again, at the end of the day, if you were able to fork over $15, I think you could have used that to either ask another streamer or save it and come up with the challenge yourself. I don't think that's that hard. By God, you could look it up or even look up past challenges that he did. Like, yeah, that takes extra effort, but you're asking a lot of him for something that you could do in just 5 seconds. And that's about it for our Sensitive Society's video. At the end of the day, he states, oh, you know, you just do whatever the kid wants or whatever. But if Nick doesn't want to, I feel like he has a right to say no, you know. And to sum up the points, pretty much, Nick A30 didn't want to answer the question, so he said I can say the challenge if you want me to. And then when Arch couldn't take that for an answer, he kept spamming him on the donations. And that's where a lot of people feel like Nick could have just said something and it would have been so easy. And it's like, yeah, sure, fine, but if he doesn't want to say it, he's fully obligated to say no. And then at the same time, Arch could literally come up with his own challenge. He doesn't have to donate so much money, especially to a streamer that's not going to answer his question, or to a different streamer that is going to answer his question, or he could look it up. It's not that hard. You don't have to spend so much money and just like be so upset about, well, or woe is me about $15 that you spent on a streamer that didn't answer your question the first time or the second time. At the end of the day, just, you know, go to another streamer. It really shouldn't be that hard. And then Nick A30 went on to stream to really screw this up and say, oh, well, this guy's a loser. He's posting about me now, and it's his most popular video. He's just doing it for clout. Now, I don't really know what to say about that too much, other than I don't really believe that Arch is doing it for clout, but it does seem to be working out for him. I mean, that's kind of a moot point, but oh well. You know, at that point, there's really nothing you can do about it. Yeah, he lost $15. Oh no, Nick wasn't ever obligated to answer your question just because you donated to him. He doesn't owe you anything. And if you want to keep donating, because even after he was blocked, you still wanted to donate to get an answer. At that point, that's your fault. You need to log off at that point. You need to come up with your own challenge. Nick also needs to, you know, like come down a bit. It didn't really need to be blown out of proportion. It got blown out of proportion way more than it needed to be. And I believe it all could have been passed like a kidney stone. It could have been passed along if Nick didn't respond to it on stream. and if Arch didn't make a video about it, if he just decided to move on. That's it, really.
Baby, you got something in your nose.